What's up, everybody? This is your boy C Sam's, and this is That Comic Show. You already know who I am. I just told you my name, right? So who are you?
Yeah, yo, your boy Mano, aka I Am Legend.
And we're gonna have a third person here. And
Where's he at?
oh, he's not. Wait, where are you?
I'm somewhere over here.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. And we're gonna be talking about Thor Ragnarok on That Comic Show.
That's right. Thor Ragnarok. The movie just dropped. I saw it Thursday night. What time you saw it?
I seen it yesterday at 6. Was a little late with this one, but well worth it.
Well, worth it. What about you?
I saw it on Friday. It was amazing, man. Couldn't miss it.
Couldn't miss it. So today we're going to be talking about it fully. So we're going to tell you our reaction first, and after we drop that reaction, we're going to put that spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it already, go see it, come back, check out what we have to talk about. We're going to go through our pros, our cons, if there's any. Then we're going to talk about some speculation, some stuff that we were thinking about during this movie. Then we're going to give you our rating of the movie. I'll let you know right now. Thor Ragnarok. You know what? Let's just get right into it. My reaction. Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
That movie was, number one, it was better than all the other Thors put together.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's not really.
Well, that's not really difficult, right?
So give him a little bit more.
This movie, when I tell you that Marvel seems to evolve every time they drop a new movie, it gets more difficult for you to find any criticism about the movie. Number one, when you see the Marvel logo, you already know what you're in for. You shouldn't even be confused to what kind of reaction you're going to get. You're going to be given everything. When I mean the comics, the cartoons, everything is going to be lumped into the one movie. And when I saw this movie, the amount of stuff that I saw that made me happy, I was grinning from ear to ear. I couldn't stop smiling. This movie was awesome.
Yeah, definitely an amazing movie. This is two storylines colliding together to make it one big movie, and to keep it short with no spoilers, it was amazing.
Amazing.
Deceptively, I think.
Deceptively, awesome. Where you at, man?
Yeah, I'm over here, man. I'm just taking it all in. I'm taking it all in, man. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man. When I saw Thor Ragnarok, the first thing I said to myself was, like, what more do we want? You know, what more do we want? Like, at this point, Marvel can't get anything wrong. It's that scary. Like, I'm sitting in the movie theaters, and as I'm seeing the title card, even the detail on the movie that we're watching. If you look at the background when they show the Marvel logo, it shows you little glimpses of the movies leading up to that movie. More specifically with that character, and I just had to cry because it's like I was in for literally. It was like you know when you go to a music park, you've never been on a ride before, and that's how I felt watching Thor Ragnarok. I don't know, maybe it was the whole feeling of it.
Real ride.
But it was just, I don't know. And then the movie alone, man, oh my goodness, like my reaction is just like it was superb. I can't imagine a better movie.
Oh, okay.
Wow. You know, before we get into our pros and we start to get into that spoiler, so I'm gonna just put the spoiler sign up. Spoiler alert. It's gonna be here.
Okay.
It's gonna be here.
Spoilers.
So before we get started, I want to take a moment of silence for a very important character that fell in this movie. This character has been with Thor since the very beginning.
Day one.
Since day one. And we saw a glimpse of this particular character from the time he was small with Loki in Odin's Vault in the first Thor. It was laid up on the side. And even though he was separated from it at the end of Thor, he was reunited. And we have to have a moment of silence for Mjolnir.
Did a good job.
Did a good job. So we're going to have a moment of silence for Mjolnir. Moment done.
So no more hammers.
No more hammers. And like we said, this is spoiler territory, so we're going right into it. So, Deceptively Awesome. I want to know right now, and I need you to speak as loud as you can, because I know you're excited about this movie. Give me some pros. Let's go.
Everything's pros. Like the way. Alright, let me break it down to you. Now we're getting into the spoiler territory.
We're in it. We're in it.
So already the trailer for the movie leading up to the movie was great. We didn't give away too much was going on, but we know little blips. So we knew the hammer would be destroyed. However, I did think that the hammer would come back. But knowing Marvel, they just above and beyond. They didn't bring back any hammer. We see that Thor is powerful without the hammer, and I love Odin's explanation of the hammer itself, or even the people of Asgard. Oh my goodness, there's so much you can talk about in this movie. It's like
We're gonna talk about it.
so with Loki, I love Loki. Loki really grew as a character. But not only that, this movie has to be one. Besides, I believe Civil War and Winter Soldier, this has to be one of the darkest movies that the Marvel Universe has ever had. Because the way the Thor's speech, I think almost towards the end, when he's speaking to Loki, how if they're just better off not being next to each other, it really shows the confliction between them two. I mean, they're brothers. At the end of the day, adopted, not adopted, whatever the case may be, they're brothers. And for them to admit, like, our relationship is really screwed up, and we're better off you're better off being bad by yourself, I'm better off being good, and instead of us getting each other's way, let's just call it quits. It was really heartfelt, because it wasn't a normal, oh, you're bad, let me destroy you, or whatever the case may be. It was like, look, do your own thing, and I'm gonna do my own thing, and we'll get that. And to see that, although Loki tried to betray him at the end, but Thor was one up on him when he put the device on his back, I thought, man, you really see that these characters are developing in their movies, and that is my biggest issue with another franchise I would not mention right now at this point. What I love about the Thor Ragnarok is that you see the development of each character, even the one who's the Valkyrie. You didn't see her development. The Hulk, oh my goodness, the Hulk. It's like every character that was in every scene stole that scene. You have the big war guy, the big rock guy, he stole every scene he was in. The Hulk stole every scene he was in. When he became Bruce Banner, even when you see the Hulk trying to fight back Bruce Banner, all of that shows how each character is just truly developing. Even the Hulk is a mindless, big thing. Even he's having a character change and development, and he's becoming, oh my goodness. And then either way,
I got a question for you, Deceptive. Deceptive, I got a question for you. Because I remember in the review that we had before, let's take a look at it.
Negative was the CGI. I just think it's just, I feel like I'm gonna go watch a video game clip, a video game movie. I feel like there's too much use of the CGI and not a lot of practical effects, especially with the Hulk. I like the idea of Mark Ruffalo's image being the Hulk and his voice, but the last shot with Thor, it just seemed kind of fake. It didn't seem like Thor was really next to anybody, and I feel as though that the CGI use is just is oversaturated the whole movie.
You said,
What he say?
the Hulk doesn't even look like he's really there. The CGI, it don't even look. I don't even think
like
he's
one of
really
the
there.
trolls or something?
He look like one. Yeah. So did that change?
no, that didn't change. That's my con territory right now.
Oh, that's the con territory. All right, we're gonna get to that then.
With the pros, I did like how I'm not talking about the design. I wasn't talking about his design. I'm talking about his character. I don't like how, how the whole conflict between him and Bruce Banner is still not resolved, but it's like they're understanding each other more. And even at the very end, I'm telling you, the whole theater was laughing. I wanted to laugh harder, but I didn't want to just ruin the whole movie for everybody else. But Bruce just out of the play.
Well, he's taking all of my pros, man.
Yeah, hey, let me stop you there for a second, because you did mention that saying Hulk and
was dying. It was so funny because it was a good callback to the Incredible. We saw the plane, but it went right through. We all know the Bifrost is extremely durable. So it didn't fall like a wet fish. It just fell out of a tank. It was so hilarious. And I don't know, there's so much more I mean you can get into, man. I don't want to steal everything. You guys go ahead.
you stole everything
You
already.
did.
What do you
did.
What do you mean? But I was going to mention the part with Bruce and Hulk understanding each other. I think they're furthest away than ever. Like what Bruce was saying, that he felt like at one point it was like they was driving a car and I had at least a hand on the wheel. Now he felt like he was in the trunk. So it seems like they're more of a distance thing, and I like that scenario. I like what they have in there. But talking about pros, I have plenty of pros. One of the pros is the character Kornak, which is the big rock guy,
Yes.
who was played by, well, not played by, but voiced by the director, actually, Watiti. I hope I'm saying his name right.
Yeah, Waititi.
Takiki Talis Watiti, or something like that.
Yes.
All of the scenes were funny. It was hilarious. And I said it before about plot lines of two stories coming together. He was an actual character in Planet Hulk storyline.
Yes.
I loved how they introduced Planet Hulk storyline, but stopped it and said, nah, this is Thor's movie. I know, we understand that, right now Marvel can't do an official Hulk only movie. It breaks my heart too, but this was the perfect way of introducing the Planet Hulk storyline. Like, it's like jumping right in the middle of Planet Hulk saying, stop right here, I know you guys are having fun, but Thor has something going on right now, and he's going to take over. So I thought that was great how they actually did two different stories, making it to a better one, pretty much.
Yes. Yes.
Like I said, the character Kornak, what else I had? I did like Sotor. His introduction in the beginning, it was kind of weird, and this is what I'm going about how, like, Surtur, sorry.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, we see Surtur, and there's a weak Surtur, and I'm looking at it, I'm like,
Makes you so-
what's going on here? And then the beginning fight was so fast, I'm like, Ragnarok ended already, or they're not going to use him the way Ragnarok was intended to use him.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that how they brought that back in towards the end of the film. I think that was amazing. And even at that last scene where you see him getting huge, getting big, and you see Hulk come out of nowhere doing what Hulk do, want to smash. I thought that was an amazing scene. The whole movie was filled with comedy. I think they pretty much made a comedy movie and just added action to it, added sci-fi to it, added Greek mythology to it, and it made it to a better movie. All around, this movie was grade A. I'll stop at my pros there. I don't want to take too many. Because there's a lot. There's a lot more.
I could go on all night, but we're on a time constraint, so we're not going to go all crazy. But the Hulk. Let me just talk about the Hulk. Like I've said it many times, I have a man crush on the Hulk. I love the Hulk character. I've always loved the Hulk character. So when I saw,
Can I apologize for you for a second? Because when I look at the design of this Hulk, at first when it was in shows, I'm like, give me the old school Hulk with Norton was in. That's the Hulk I like.
Yeah.
But this Hulk, the character design for me was amazing. Go ahead.
okay,
Sorry.
there we go. So, Deceptively Awesome, he mentioned this, and this was one of my biggest pros. The battle between Hulk and Bruce Banner. If you know anything about the comics, that is a continuous battle. One is trying to live, and the other one is trying to live as well. And both of them can't live at the same time. So we get an understanding. First, we understand what happened to the Hulk, because at the last time we saw the Hulk was in Avengers: Age of Ultron, and they said that he crashed. It looked like he crashed into the middle of the Mediterranean, but they weren't sure because there was a cloaking device on the ship. So they wasn't really sure if that was where he crashed. But then we get an understanding that he was actually sucked up and he was spit out into this arena in Sakaar. Sakaar is the planet of the Red King. That was part of the Planet Hulk storyline. So they still use that Sakaar, and that's basically what Sakaar was. It was kind of just a dumping ground for everybody. So when we got that understanding, it made sense to me. And then when he said that he's been Hulk for literally 2 years. So when you're a baby, you can't really talk, you can't really communicate as a baby, but as you grow older, you learn how to talk and everything like that. That's what happened to the Hulk. It was 2 years since Age of Ultron, so he began to talk. He learned how to talk. His mind is still primitive. It takes him a long time to understand things, but he starts to talk. Now, the part that I love the best is when he actually saw Agent Romanoff, Black Widow. And when he saw her face, that's kind of like the Betty effect for him. When he saw her face, he started to go back. And he started to remember. Because remember, the whole time, Thor was trying to get him to remember. He was like, sun's going down. That was hilarious. And you hear him saying this, and it's like, and you see him reaching out his hand and everything. Yeah, oh man.
Doesn't have the same effect.
Nah, not at all. Because Hulk went to work on him anyway. But what I'm trying to get to, there was a part in that, and I don't know if y'all caught it, but when he saw her, and he started to bang his head and everything like that, the Hulk said, "Banner, No, he was saying that. He was like, Banner, no! And then boom, Banner came back. So, yo, when I saw that, I got goosebumps. I was like, wow. For them to show that type of battle that's going on within the Hulk. The fact that Hulk is enjoying, because you saw him when he busted out, and he was in the arena, and he was going like this, they were cheering him. This was all a callback to the Planet Hulk storyline. Earth doesn't want the Hulk, so Hulk found a new home where people didn't fear him, but they cheered for him. They loved him. They celebrate him. So of course he's going to be excited about that. Of course he's going to want to be around that. So I just thought that was the biggest pro for me in this movie. The next pro for me, Mjolnir. Even though Mjolnir is supposed to be an enchanted hammer, the way that Odin just pretty much broke it down, like this is only to channel your energy, to help you focus your energy. And what we saw was something in the comic books called Thor's Rage. And when Thor gets to that level of anger, where he can no longer control his god, his thunder, it grows to the point where it's uncontrollable. And throughout the movie, we started seeing shades of that throughout the entire movie. Even when Odin, I don't know if Odin really died. Can we say Odin died?
That was my question. I'm not too sure if it was full death, if that makes any type of sense. But I'm not too sure how these characters work.
I don't think they're gonna bring it back again.
Well, think about it, because once again, the one thing about Marvel, you can't just watch the one movie and get everything. You have to see everything. And they're doing trilogies of these main characters. So in the Dark World, Frida, Thor's mother, dies. And she was in her casket and everything, but by the time she got to the edge of the Bifrost, she disappeared the same way that Odin did. So maybe this could be the end of Odin. In the comics, Odin doesn't really die.
He can't die.
He can't die.
That is a different universe, though. Still.
It's a different universe. You're absolutely right. Deceptively awesome. Man, it seems like you're right here. But that's exactly how it felt. So I guess for me to see that type of energy and to see shades of that throughout the entire movie, where Thor is trying to understand it, I thought that was brilliant how they came out.
That was gonna be my question to you guys. How did you like Odin's send-off? If that was his final send-off, if we never see the actor play Odin again. Now, for me personally, two things I liked about the movie. I like how they show how strong Asgardians can be, but I also didn't like they never show how strong Odin can be. They give you a trip back in history of how Odin and Hela went on a rampage, and that's one thing I did like. They actually explained why they only stopped at 9 realms. Because when you watch Guardians of the Galaxy and Doctor Strange, even they give you a sense that there's like a million different realms.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out like why they only focus on 9, and they said it where Odin pretty much had a change of thought, like saying, "Hey, we've been conquering all these worlds. I think we should chill out for a second." And we stopped at 9, and she pretty much locked Hela up for however long.
There's another piece of speculation that I can't wait to get to speculations, because I have a lot of speculations about this movie. I'm not even going to get into all that.
Okay.
My next pro. What you said?
Well, to answer your question, I like the setup that they gave for Odin. You know, it wasn't too grandiose. It wasn't like it wasn't cliche. It was like literally, I don't know. One of my favorite animated movies is the Kung Fu Panda, and they actually kind of did that. The Kung Fu Panda.
Same thing, yeah.
It's just amazing how they sent off the turtle ninja, whatever.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like it was the same kind of setup. It was peaceful. It wasn't like a grand thing. He didn't die in an epic battle. It was just him explaining, like, to help Loki and Thor grow, for them to kind of see eye to eye. And I did like how they were both present for that. You know, although Loki has his differences with his father, it was still a good way to say, like, hey, look, no matter what you did, Loki, I'm leaving and I love you, basically. I like the send-off that they gave him.
Cool. Okay.
Cool. I didn't have a problem with the send off as well. I didn't have a problem with it. There's a level of respect that I think should be shown to the King of Asgard, who is Odin, and Odin he's a dangerous force. In the comics, he's a dangerous force. So they kind of made him. They kind of showed his twilight years. So I agree with you. Like, man, I would have hoped to see more of that Rampage style Odin when Odin was younger. Cause, man, wait till we get to speculations. I have a lot of speculations when it comes to that. But my next pro was actually Loki. I loved Loki's character, and when Thor finally got back to Asgard, and they were reenacting the entire scene in Thor: The Dark World. If you didn't watch Thor: The Dark World, you wouldn't even know what was going on.
Yeah.
But if you saw Thor: The Dark World, they was reenacting that scene. And guess who's playing the role of Loki? Did y'all catch that?
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. I was like, what? Everybody in the movie theaters was like, is that Matt Damon?
Matt Damon.
Yo, crazy.
And actually, the brother was playing Thor. Chris Hemsworth's brother was playing Thor.
You know what? I didn't even peep that.
Yep. That's Hemsworth.
Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Yo, that's hilarious. So, obviously, this movie did a great job developing Loki's character. From the time we first met Loki as a conniving, jealous brother, we see him in Dark World as a person who was just trying to fill the role of what he believed he was supposed to be, which is a king. He believed he's supposed to be a king, and he's trying to fill that role. And even at the end of it, because of the fact that he lost his mother, or his adopted mother, Frida, he had a transformation in his character to where he was going to fight beside Thor, not for the honor of Odin or for Thor himself, but for his mother. A lot of his tricks came from his mother, and they even say that in Thor: The Dark World. You may think that movie was really bad or whatever. I love that movie for those main points. In a part where they're going to see Malekith, you see them arguing, and Thor was like, "You may have her tricks, but I had her trust." So that means that the type of lessons she instilled in the two of them, she instilled the trickery in Loki, and the trust factor she instilled in Thor. That's why Thor always comes back to Loki and always tried to show him that trust, because of what his mother showed him. But now that the mother's gone, he doesn't have that. It's hard for him to have that same type of trust anymore. But Loki's always going to have that trickery a part of him. And then in this movie, we see everything come full circle. Like I was saying, Loki, the development of Loki was amazing. I love how they developed Loki as a character. And even when he was with the Grand Master, oh my goodness, he was so slick. Like, he acted like he didn't know who Thor was. He didn't want no parts of him. He was telling him to be quiet. And even in the arena, when he was like, look, it's Hulk, it's Hulk. Look at big old Loki. And Loki was like, it was hilarious. I loved it. I loved how they made Loki.
See, now both
the scene where Hulk grabbed Thor like the way he did Loki's like, yeah, you see how it feels?
Yeah, and Hulk, I love that callback. Hulk did the exact same thing that he did in Avengers to Loki. He grabbed him by the foot and he was throwing him, thrashing him. He repeated the exact same thing in this movie. Beautiful callback, great callback. I love it. Hela. What you got to say about Hela?
Let's talk about Hela.
Wait, before you even go, Deceptively Awesome, where you at?
Is he in the couch?
Oh. All right, so Hela, man, what's up, man? What you think about Hela?
I don't get much better than Hela, man. She, for the first time, I should say for the first time, but I guess with their, I guess their main villains they might use again. Marvel's having it down pat, because Hela was intimidating. Man, she's powerful. She's fierce. You can tell that's Odin's daughter. You can tell that is Odin's daughter, especially at the end. She had no fear facing up
Surtur.
Ragnarok, right?
Surtur.
Surtur, yeah, which is based off of Surtur. Oh my goodness, you can see, like, man, they're gonna use her again. And of course, that's gonna be touching into speculation round, so I'm not talking about that, but I definitely like how they made Hela. I mean, not only was she dangerous, but she was confident, you know, and she didn't need anybody. If you wanted to get one of her cause, cool. If you didn't, alright. You know, that's it. Doesn't matter. She was really the epitome of death. She looked like wherever she went, death followed. And the way she killed off Thor's friends.
The Warriors 3.
The Warriors 3.
Just gonna get into the cons, you know.
I'll-
I didn't really like that the way they killed so quickly, but I also kind of did because it shows that she's not playing. It's not the typical kind of villain that's gonna drag things out, which I loved about her. So
Man, I don't like when he talks from the cloud because he always take my points and my and my ideas.
I disagree with that. I disagree. I thought that because you know something, Marvel always get flack for not doing enough in their movies to make this seems like there's some type of stakes involved. I thought by them doing that was Marvel
By
saying,
killing
"Yeah, we hear you."
Warriors 3?
Yes, by her killing the Warriors 3, because notice Lady Sif wasn't there.
how bad she did it, how fast. Not that she did it, but how fast.
How fast she did it?
That even made it better. Look, that fight scene where Hela first reached Asgard was
Yo.
amazing. I didn't understand her powers, but the way they used her powers was amazing. The whole swords or whatever weapon she wanted to conjure up.
Question: do you think her fighting style is better than the chick's fighting style in Man of Steel? I forget the general's name. Not General Zod, but the female.
Easily.
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 The way he was shot. Maybe that was good on the director's part because the way he was shot, it looked dope. But like,
Yo,
Hela seems like because she's throwing knives, she doesn't really need much like combat kind of fighting style, you know.
Okay.
well, not only throwing knives, but stabbing people with swords, with axes, getting stabbed in the chest, wiping it off like whatever.
Like it was nothing.
Cutting people's heads
Like it
off,
was
and
nothing.
like you said, like she killed the Warriors 3. People that went with Thor on many adventures killed him off just like that. That's how power, and that's what I was glad about because they actually showed the power of an Asgardian. Like you see with Thor here and there, every now and then you see how strong he is. He always facing off with Hulk, and it's like okay, he can stand with Hulk, so he's strong. But to see what Hela did was simply amazing.
But y'all mentioned Valkyrie, or also Valkyrie has the same type of strength. You saw how she grabbed my man and she just
Yeah.
tossed him in the air.
Yeah.
Valkyrie has the same type of strength, and
Oh, since we still talk about pros, do you want to stay on Hela? Let's stay on Hela.
let's stay on Hela.
Let's stay on Hela. So, as the Marvel villain Hela, best we seen or close to it? Or top 3, top 5, I'm not too sure.
I think Thor knows how to deliver a good villain. They're actually 2 in 1 because
Okay.
Malekith was, he wasn't that great of a villain. His vision was on point, but he wasn't that great of a villain. Loki, still one of the best villains that Marvel has to offer. And now we have Hela. I think Hela is probably top 5 easily. Easily top 5 villains that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has. What about you, Deceptive?
No, I'm on the same page. In the Thor universe, definitely she's right up there with Loki. I mean, Loki, you really can't call him a villain because he's an anti-hero in a sense, but he's like, he's like the opposite of Thor, which that they always have these the best villains to begin with. And now you have Hela, who's also the sister, and I love how they have Thor's universe, a whole family. They even on a show like Murray or Jerry.
Dysfunction.
And I really like how so many times they hit those kind of beats. Like, they want to say, like, hey, look, Thor, we don't care what you guys do as a family. You guys do what you guys do elsewhere, man. You guys got a messed up family, you know what I mean? And I kind of like that. So, even the Thor to have one of the greatest villains of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is sibling.
Totally.
Definitely. What else? More pros. I got another one. Nobody mentioned it as of yet. They got rid of Jane. Oh, it's gone.
Bruh!
And that relationship, I guess I could understand it in Thor 1, but it just didn't make sense anymore. It's not needed. I think it wasn't even a send-off for her. She had no send-off for anything.
No, but you know what? I didn't really think about that because they didn't show her in Age of Ultron. And she said, and I remember they were like, well, where's the ladies at during that party? Was Agent Hill was asking that question. And he was like, oh, Jane's off doing her thing. And once I heard him say that, I was like, yeah, Jane's not coming back. And I don't want Jane to come back. She single-handedly ruined the Dark World for me. Single-handedly ruined the Dark World for me.
Jeez, I went that far.
Yes, I'm going all the way with that. She single-handedly.
She just wasn't, I don't know, she wasn't necessarily.
The mother died protecting her. I was finished. After Frida died protecting Jane, I was finished. I was finished with Jane. So yes, I think that was a great pro. No Jane Foster. Good. We don't need her. She was a wasteful character. I love Natalie Portman as the actress. I think she's beautiful in that role, but no, I don't like her. I'm glad they got rid of her.
Definitely a pro. Any other pros?
I think Surtur coming back at the end.
Man.
I thought that was
Thank God he came back.
That was a great pro.
So I was gonna put that in my con to begin with. I'm like, oh, you're not gonna make a Ragnarok without this guy being this weak. Like, it doesn't make sense at all.
It made.
Foreshadowing. So I thought to myself, that was good. I love how they did a lot of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
They capitalize on the promises. You know what I mean? Like I knew he was gonna come back. I kind of knew. Once Thor had his face in Asgard, I knew they were going to use the Eternal Fire. But I love how they foreshadowed that. Because even Surtur said, like, look, once I fear the Eternal Fire, that's it for you. You know what I mean? And so it was like Thor brought it to him. You know, it made it come to pass. And I love how they did that. You know. That was really smart.
There was a lot of foreshadowing in this movie. A lot of stuff they were setting up in the beginning, and it all came into fruition at the end.
They didn't skip it. They didn't gloss over it or made it seem like, oh, you know, they forgot about it. They were on track with everything. On everything. And when I saw Surtur reemerge, and even in that last part, the amount of stuff that we saw in that last part, Loki was bringing Surtur's head to the Eternal Fire. But then you saw Loki pause and look at the Tesseract. I'm telling you.
We can speculate about that later. I got that in my speculation.
Yes. All right, good.
Because I like to take my stuff. You got to be careful with this guy.
Here we go.
I want to say something too about this whole movie.
What's up?
I love how this movie, I think the main purpose, maybe this was the director's main purpose of it all. The director, I think this movie really did make up. I mean, I like the first Thor, and the second one I didn't too care much about. But I think this movie touched on every last thing for the last two movies.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, other studios have no excuse how they can't cram as much information into a movie. And if you think about it, even when Helen went to the Owen's vault, when she saw the other gauntlet and whatever, and she smacked it down and said it was fake. Everybody, I mean, for years we were wondering, is that fake or real? That's the second part. Like, is that another gauntlet or whatever? When she smacked it down saying, like, all these things are fake, we automatically assumed, like, okay, everything in this vault is fake. We also knew, wait a minute, and then she went to say, the only thing that is not fake is the Eternal Fire. She didn't know that the Tesseract was real. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I love how they did that in the movie. She didn't know the Tesseract was real. She didn't know that the skull was real. I love how amongst Odin's fake trophies were also real trophies as well. I thought that was like really how they really took other things from other movies and combined it into this one movie to explain things that happened in the Dark World and things that happened in the first Thor movie.
See, man, you talk about me stealing stuff. This guy stole something right from me.
Somewhere, so
I know.
he's
but
looking at our notes.
That one mention of the Infinity Gauntlet, because a lot of people were saying, okay, the Infinity Gauntlet is in the vault, and then at the end of Age of Ultron, you see Thanos coming in and getting the gauntlet and getting it on his hand.
Just a gauntlet, a left hand gauntlet.
A left hand gauntlet. So then you start thinking, okay, well, there can't be two gauntlets because there's not two gauntlets, there's only one. And then when she tipped it over, I want you to recognize and notice the size. Did you notice the size of it?
It was bigger.
It was huge. It was huge, and that only tells me if Thanos came walking and grabbed it and it looked normal in his wrist, you can only imagine how big Thanos is in real life. So I can't wait to see Thanos in relation to the size, because you never seen him side by side with someone else. You always see him in the distance, standing somewhere. Like when he was talking to Ronan in Guardians of the Galaxy, he was kind of sitting on his throne. He wasn't doing anything. He wasn't stepping up to him or anything like that. So we don't even know how big Thanos is in relation to other people.
Well, we kind of know, since we seen some things we weren't supposed to see.
Yeah, but
possibly
we saw him.
But we really don't know.
We don't know how big he is compared to other people. But I thought that was great how they said there's also fake treasures in the Vault of Odin. And I love how you mentioned, Deceptive, how she didn't even know that the Tesseract was real. Because in the beginning of Captain America, there was a fake Tesseract that they had. So it was all callback. Everything that they did in this movie was called back to the last two movies. And I think that is what Marvel does with their trilogies. Iron Man 3 was callbacks to the first two Iron Mans. Captain America: Civil War, the first two callbacks to those two movies, and now we see this. It's kind of bittersweet though, because now we saw the three pillars, and their movies are done. Their trilogies are all done.
Wrap.
So we may not even get.
It was a good send off for him.
It was a beautiful send off. I thought it was everything about this movie was awesome. What are the pros?
I'm still on pros.
And the callbacks from like you said, Age of Ultron with the Hulk and the Age of Ultron. You know what I mean? Like that whole explains that. Like it talks about everything. You know what I mean? Like this was the movie that talked about everything, and but not to cram it only into like 2 hours and like 15 minutes, something like that. It's amazing, and it still stuck. It just still felt like a singular story. It didn't feel like it was like a prelude to anything. You know what I mean? Like it felt like this was its own singular story. Yeah, it's part of a big picture, but I'm glad it didn't feel like it had to be a movie that's gonna lead to the next movie. It felt like it was its own singular event.
Definitely.
Awesome.
It wasn't like gonna destroy the galaxy. It wasn't like you know what I mean? It was like
It was an end to Asgard, and they delivered.
Definitely.
They delivered at the end of Asgard.
Definitely. Another pro, I'm gonna call it a pro. The trailer was so deceptive. Like a lot of things we see in the trailer didn't happen. Like even with Thor with two eyes in the trailer coming down with the electric, and we found out Thor no longer got a right eye. And in the trailer, they showed the same part, the same scenes, and
With
we had
two
two eyes. I'm like, huh?
That's kind of weird how they
The
did that.
trailer was so deceptive.
They clearly lied.
They lied.
Bait and switch.
that's smart. See now, like I'm telling you, I don't like bringing up another studio, but they could really learn from them. Like really learn from them. You know what I mean? You don't have to give everything away in your trailers.
Definitely.
Not like we want to see anything. Anyway, let's go. We still
No
pros.
negativity. We
We're
still
still pros. We're still pros.
Okay, Jeff Goldblum, the
As the
Grandmaster.
Grandmaster.
What do you guys think about him?
I love it.
Loved him.
Loved him?
I loved him too.
I loved him as the Grandmaster. There's a con I have about him, but I'll save that for later.
Okay.
But he was awesome in this as well.
As the Grandmaster, like I said, I love the Thanos quest. That was my favorite comic book growing up. I'm still trying to find it for myself. But the way that they talked about the Grandmaster is exactly how Goldblum was presenting it. He was just a person that just loved to see people compete. That was his whole thing. He just wants to put people in different mazes, put people in different fights. He wanted to see who would win. And a lot of it, like you mentioned before, this was a lot of the Planet Hulk storyline. So the greatest warrior and champion, I'm going to talk about that. That's one of my cons. They had it as Hulk. That's exactly how Grandmaster is. And everything about Grandmaster, and it didn't show a lot of his power and how powerful he was, but he was everywhere at once.
My con about him.
Oh, that's your. All right, we'll save it for that. But I thought it was pretty good how they did it because he was almost omnipresent. He was everywhere at once. Every time, like he would be right there in the stadium, and then when Loki was sitting there saying something or about to leave, he just popped out of nowhere. Hey, where you going? I was like, wow, like he's omnipresent. I love this character.
Yeah, me too. He wasn't too corny. I felt like Jeff Goldblum. You know how you're sometimes like an Independence Day movie. You know,
Honing it in.
You know, like Goldblum's an idiot, but this really made him seem like he was more like I don't know. He wasn't so corny. He was I like his role. You know, he didn't overdo it, try to oversell it. He's like he just be himself almost.
Cool. So cons.
We'll get to the con.
I got cons that. Let me start off because you guys mentioned some things in your pros that I had at cons.
Okay.
Let's start with the character Loki. So, whenever we talk about Marvel characters, we always talk about their development. Where y'all see development, I seen the same Loki. I didn't see a developed Loki when he was gonna trick Thor, and this is towards the kind of the last arc of the film.
Yeah.
He was still getting ready to trick Thor, and Thor even said it like, "You're always gonna be mischievous, whatever, and I'm always gonna be there to stop you," something of that manner. So I didn't like that. Like Thor is, for some reason, is always pouring out his heart to him, saying, "Hey, I still want you as my brother, whatever. Our father died," and he still decides to trick him. So I didn't like that. I did like how he came back late, but even when he came back, he came out like, "Hey, I'm here to save you guys," and he fought. I understand that, but it still seems like he's the same Loki. He didn't change to me. That's just me.
The mother taught Thor how to trust and taught Loki how to trick.
I understand
and that's something that's not going to change between them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, character development doesn't always mean like the character itself changing. It always means like they learn something. You know what I mean? Or they move forward with something. Like for example, to me, the character development between them two was moving forward. That look, I'm gonna continue. Thor's like, I'm gonna continue to trust you, even though you're gonna backstab me. And Loki's like, well, I'm gonna continue to backstab me, even though you're gonna continue to trust me. Now it's like they finally reached an understanding. Now they finally reached an understanding of each other. Loki's always gonna be like, he wants the glory for himself. He wants to be king. He's always gonna want that. But his means to getting it might be a little different. It might not always be mischievous, you know. Because at the very end, you're gonna backstab Thor again and not put Sword into the eternal fire. You know what I mean? He could have done that again. He could have left the hand or something and let kill Thor. But Loki was trying to do what Loki could have done, which was maybe stick with, well, this might be getting to speculation, whatever. So he might do his own Loki thing, but at the end of the day, he did something to kind of better the situation, not what Loki might have done before, you know? That's how I kind of interpret it as.
Okay.
I'll take it. I don't know.
No, I get you. Yeah, keep going with your guns.
There was more? What other cons did you guys have? Did you have any?
I'm gonna show you my con.
Oh, this guy.
What's your con? Go ahead, cause I gotta find. Well, actually, you know what? I found my con. I hope everybody sees this character right here. Let me get closer to. Let me bring it close to you guys. You see that character right there? That guy right there is called Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill. I've been talking about this ever since I saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I said that is Beta Ray Bill sitting up in the Collector's Vault, and when that Collector's Vault blew up, Beta Ray Bill got escaped. My whole mind, this is how I pictured it. Beta Ray Bill escaped. Collector gave Beta Ray Bill to Grandmaster because they're brothers, gave him to him, and now he was going to be the champion of Sakaar. That's how it was in the Planet Hulk.
Well, he was one of the champions.
All right.
Because if you've seen the statues,
I saw the statues.
It's your boy Beta Ray Bill.
Beta Ray Bill. And I kept seeing it. I was like, oh, Beta Ray. I'm like, yo, they have to have him in the movie. But they also had another champion with the two heads. Oh man, what's his name? I forgot his name. I had to look up his name. But they had a lot of champions on that wall, and you saw Hulk as the main champion. I get that, but to see Beta Ray Bill, they're telling me, all right, Beta Ray Bill is in this movie, and I'm waiting for him. I'm thinking that at some point, I thought at some point he was going to arrive, and then when I saw that he wasn't going to arrive, and then Thor and Hulk did their thing and everything like that. The good callback to that is when Thor was beating the Hulk up.
Yeah.
When Hulk was on the ground. Oh no, sorry. When Thor was on the ground and Hulk was wailing. That's what he did to Beta Ray Bill. That was a good callback. And I thought
the crowd stop.
Yeah.
The crowd that loves blood just stopped. Like, whoa,
that's too vicious. I thought at some point at the end of the movie for the after credit, when I saw him, Grandmaster come back. I said, yes, it's coming. He's going to come up and say, you know what? That green guy really wasn't my champion anyway. And he was going to push a button, and then we were going to see Beta Ray Bill step out. We wasn't going to see his face. We were going to see his cape, his boots, and then he was going to bring his Stormbreaker, and the Stormbreaker was going to drop. I thought that is what I was going to see. I'm so upset. I want to flip the table. I wanted to see him so bad.
I'm thinking you're not the director, man. I would that would have been like, I don't know.
That would have been amazing.
Yep.
No, that would have been amazing. I think I like when they make cameos. I don't want them to get too much detail. I didn't want to see Beta Ray Bill. I think, honestly, it would have took away from it being Thor's movie, you know? Because Beta Ray Bill is the Thor's version of Thor.
And it's too hard to explain. And Thor just got to that planet, so...
I don't care. Well, there's no more Mjolnir. So what's next? The Stormbreaker.
It would be cool if maybe in Infinity War, Beta Ray Bill gave him a new Mjolnir, and then that'd be nice.
There's no more hammers in the Marvel universe.
After this movie, that was my one and only con. Well, that was my main con. I have another con. But that was my main con. I was upset. I wanted Beta Ray Bill to be in this movie. I wanted Beta Ray
This
Bill.
one is some fan service, that's all.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes. Is it too much to ask?
Deceptive. What's your con?
Deceptive, yeah, man. We keep hearing you.
Which other con?
What's your con?
My con, I'm gonna just throw it out there. My con was the Hulk in the beginning. And I think it's not so much the Hulk. Like, I think I said this before in another video. It's the, I guess, we're well past the time of, like, practical effects, you know? I just kind of, I really can't get behind the whole overuse of CGI. I mean, that was just a straight CGI. Like, I don't know, I just wish, like, how else would they do it, right? But still, like, I think the overuse of CGI was really killing me. Like, Hope didn't seem like he was really there, you know? He seemed more, he just seemed like he was CGI there, you know? So I think that was my issue with the Hulk. I like the design because I like how, especially when Hulk was like, you could see the beard coming in. Like, it was so funny if at the end of the movie he had a full beard. I think that would be hilarious. But like, it's nice to see that they used Ruffalo's image for the Hulk. But it's just the whole CGI Hulk I just couldn't really get. And I feel like a lot of the battle too, like the way Hulk was like hitting Thor, I felt like Thor should have died. Like it was, you know. But I guess he's a queen, so I guess
Yeah, man.
But like when you said when he was on top of him smashing him in the ground, I felt like Thor should have just died. I mean, you know, I don't like the dumbing down of the Hulk's power. That's why.
Well,
Hulk, they really do. When you read the comic books and you see, I guess they try to fit him to the universe, but they really did dumb down Hulk's power a lot. Like, you know, when you compare it to what he can do, I mean, he can punch ripples into the time-space continuum. Like, he is ridiculously strong. But I think for the movies, he doesn't grow bigger as he gets madder.
When I saw Surtur and stuff like that, in that whole fight scene, I thought that fight scene was just right. You saw how strong Hulk is by giving it to him, but then even when he scaled it back, when Thor was like, no, don't do anything, he was like, monster. He was like, nah, don't do anything, let him do what he has to do. And then when he actually put the sword into Asgard,
that was amazing.
That scenery right there, for him to stab it and then bring it down and then destroy it. Yeah, there was a little bit of a comic because he was like, oh man, you feel bad, but then the guy is like, oh, you know, the foundation is still intact and as long as that's there. And then he put the drove the sword in, and he was like, boom, he was like, oh, well, I guess he can't do that now. I thought that was funny. I thought that was that was hilarious. That was good comic. That was good timing.
Yeah, like I said, this movie was a comedy first. I think this is how Guardians of the Galaxy gave you that feeling of not forced comedy. It's just comedy all around.
Organic, real natural.
Real organic, real natural. And they just like, all right, we're going to give you some little action here, a little sci-fi here to make it, to round it out. Amazing movie.
Right, well balanced.
Well balanced,
Definitely. Amazing movie for me. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. I think it could be a 10. I try to stop giving full out 10s to begin with on my first watch. I need to watch it 2 more times, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna up it to a 10 later when we have another review about the best Marvel movies, which we probably do in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
But so far, 9.5, definitely a must see. Like I said, I hope you've seen it after watching all of this, but
might as well have. So yeah, I'm just gonna say the same thing, people. 9.5 out of 10. The only reason why it's a 9.5 out of me, all the CGI stuff didn't bother me. Other things in the movie didn't bother me. Not seeing Beta Ray Bill, that bothered me. That broke my heart. But 9.5 out of 10. I think that's the overall consensus of the table. 9.5 out of 10.
Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok.
Go see it.
Man, go see it. You have to go see it.
Think we're done?
We're done?
Good. And we out.
We straight? Alright.